good.
How good is this?
Well, I don't know. They performed well tonight. I don't know how many yards rushing they had, but I liked what I saw there, and they got better from a week ago. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week wasn't a lot of fun. We checked our egos at the film room, and we got after it pretty good because that's what you do to get better. We sure didn't rest on our laurels, and we got better.
The schedule was supposed to be tough.
It is tough. Let me tell you, they're a good football team. They had a couple of injuries. We know what that feels like. They've also a good receiver. They've also running back. We know what that feels like. We weren't sure whether Silo was going to go to the. As you can see, he's pretty good too. He had a little bit of a thigh bruise, but he rehabbed it really well today. And we felt like that. But again, even the second unit, we had some players up front, and that's a good thing. So. Yes, it is a very tough schedule. Trust me, we're going to take it a lot.
It seemed your defense kind of, once they settled in, pretty much shut them down, except for a couple of big plays.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't realize is when we lost Turney back there as safety, we still got a young man who's learning that position. And unfortunately, he's learning it the hard way, and that's under live bullets. And it's tough, especially when we're an aggressive type of defense, and we got caught a little flat-footed with our safety there. We lost our poise a little bit there after halftime, and the second guy always gets caught in shoving matches. But we'll learn from that, and we'll get better from it. But we'll get better at safety, and we got to go against each other every day in practice. Our safeties will get better, I can assure you.
Hatcher was going up against two guys who were probably D1 tackles, and he just improved himself over and over and over again tonight. It seemed like he was always in the backfield if they let him.
Well, I actually felt like the first half we were giving the quarterback too much time. He was back there a lot of time to read, but we talked about that at halftime and let's amp it up. And I felt like we did that, but they're a good football team. They're going to win a lot of games. Next week is Brentwood and Montgomery Bell, so that's going to be a shootout right there. Both of those are good football teams.
Good starting point after 2 weeks for you guys. I mean, you feel pretty good with the 2 weeks.
Yeah, there certainly is room for improvement. I'll say that. Again, you can't lose your poison, and I felt like those first 3 minutes right after halftime has got to be corrected. You can't let people back in the ball game like that. But we started out a little bit slow on defense the last 2 weeks, and I'm proud of our coaches because we make good adjustments and nobody panicked. But we have to come out faster. And again, that's kids learning new positions at safety, but we'll get better from it.
This schedule allows you the chance to prove yourself as a national program. Do you feel like you're doing that so far?
That's the farthest thing from my mind. Be honest with you, and no disrespect at that. It's just the fact that we just take it one game at a time, and I'm glad we have an open week. We've got some nicks, and I know how to deal with the open week. There's certain things that we need to work on. We'll shorten practice up and worry about academics and come out and go hard for shorter periods of time, and we're going to work on a phase each game, and the rest of the stuff I can't take care of. What I got to take care of is we got to get ready for Elder, and they're very good.
Tell me more about White.
Well, you love kids that love to play, and he's like any other kid. He doesn't necessarily like to practice very much, but he gets better, and he just loves to play. I mean, he's one of our backup running backs in case we get in a pinch. He was down there, and we were going over our openers yesterday, and he's studying that, and he wanted some carries tonight, but he didn't need any carries. So. But he's that type of an athlete, and he really loves the game, and that's what I want. I want kids out here because they love the game, not because somebody else wants them there. And these kids are a lot of fun to coach.
How much more potential does Quick have? It seems like he's got infinite athletic ability.
Well, he is, but again, he's another one that loves to play, and he's very unselfish. Have you ever seen him block? He's not a lot of fun to try to come through, and he just bounces around and has a lot of fun with life. If I were like that, I might live to be 60. But I wish I was a little bit more easygoing than what I was. But he loves to play, and that's what we like. He keeps everybody loose.
Good. Thanks.
10 offensive possessions, Coach, 10 scores. You got to feel great about that.
I feel very good about that. I didn't realize that at that time. We talked about last week. We went 2 back-to-back 3-and-outs. That's not what we're about. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday wasn't fun dealing with that, and so it was one of the hardest 3 days that I've had in a long time here, because I wanted these guys to do. That's what you do to get better.
Is there something about the maturity level where the sophomores were a little protected last year from upperclassmen, and now some of these guys are these really talented juniors growing into that leadership role? Is there something, early on that you see with this season?
No, what you got is you got 41 seniors. They're the ones that are taking care of business, and they're the ones that run the show. Their leadership has really stepped up, and our senior class is saying, follow us, this is the way you do things. The junior class is like their support group, and I think leadership is about doing and not talking, and those kids right now are doing it, and it happens in practice. That's where we're getting better, because those kids are going in practice harder, and that's what we preach.
And finally, Dalen, the running attack, everybody pitching in on the running attack and making sure, through 4 quarters, making sure that they're getting big plays out of big chunks of yardage, where, not just in the inside, but on the outside too, like you mentioned with the receivers.
Well, it starts with everybody blocking, including our receivers. And if you watch our receivers downfield, they do a heck of a job, and they're very, very selfless when it comes to that, very unselfish, and that's what it takes. And bottom line is, if they don't block, they sit, and they like to play. So, it's everybody.
Okay.